A few days ago, one of you commented on one of my posts and told me that, ma'am, whenever you start your coaching program, please make it affordable. And ever since then, I have been thinking about this. And I am just trying to understand the meaning of affordable. Not because I was offended, but because it actually made me think. Like, what exactly does affordable mean? Not as per the dictionary, but what I'm trying to say is what may be affordable for me may not be affordable for you. What is expensive for me may be completely manageable for someone else. And what I consider worth spending rupees 10,000 on, someone else may not even want to spend rupees 1,000 on. So, affordability is actually a very big and very subjective word. And I thought that maybe we need to have a conversation about what affordability actually means. Because I think we Indians need to work a lot on money mindset. Because sometimes when we say that I cannot afford it, are we really talking about money? Or are we talking about priority, the value, or how worth it is, or the desire of having it, or how badly we want something? And before somebody says, but ma'am, financial limitations are real. Yes, I know they are. Not everyone has the same income. Not everyone has the same responsibilities. And I do understand that not everyone has the same financial safety as well. But there are things people genuinely cannot afford. I do know that. But this isn't a conversation about pretending financial struggles don't exist. This is a real conversation about something else, which I was thinking. It's about the things we could prioritize, but we don't. And I know this because I have lived this myself. And I have been on both sides of this conversation. I remember when I left the Indian Army, and at that point in my life, I was not earning, of course. And it was my husband who was the earning member. Earlier, we both were DIG, like the double income group. But we still had our expenses. We had bought a car, there was a loan to repay, and we were building our life from scratch. And one thing I want to say very clearly here, that we did not build our lifestyle by taking money from one of our parents. No, we didn't. He didn't take money from his parents. I didn't take money from my parents. He didn't take dowry. We didn't ask our parents to fund the life we wanted to create. We actually built it ourselves. I remember buying our first sofa ourselves. I remember buying our first bed in our own house. We both bought it. And these may sound like very ordinary things, but when you are actually building your life from the ground zero, you actually understand the value of every single rupee differently. And then something happened in my life. I had developed diastasis recti, that is separation of my abdominal muscles, and that happened way back in 2018. And I decided that I want to understand this properly because there was no trainer healing diastasis recti in India at that time. Not just for myself, because I wanted to understand women's body. And I wanted to help other women. And eventually, that became the beginning of Fit Moms, Fitter Homes, my health and wellness firm. But to build that expertise, I needed education. So I found a certification program in the United States called the Tupler Technique, which something I deeply wanted to pursue. And the cost at that time was not small. It was around 4 lakh rupees plus the cost of traveling to New York to complete the required assignments. And at that point, I did not have 4 lakh rupees sitting comfortably in my account. If I had taken that money out literally, my account would have practically gone to zero. Now imagine what the easy decision would have been at that time. I could have just simply said that I cannot afford it. And if I would have done that, that would have been completely understandable because most women do that. So many men do that. And I had no personal income at that point. We also had expenses. We had a car loan. We were building our own home, me and my husband, and we were building our lives together. But I asked myself a different question. I asked, what will this investment, not expense, I call that an investment, create for me? And I believe that if I gain this knowledge, I would develop an expertise and I will build something around it. I could create an income from it. I could help women. I could build something of my own from it. So I decided to absolutely go for it. But I didn't have enough money. So I was so passionate that I created the way. So I spoke to my husband. He supported me, and I spoke to my brother. My brother helped me with the payment through his credit card because me and my husband didn't have a credit card then. And I told him that the moment I start earning, I will pay you back for sure. And that's exactly what I did. I paid back the money I took from my husband and even the money I took from my brother. I invested a significant amount myself. The remaining amount was supported by my family. Then, of course, I completed my Tupler certification. I became the first diastasis recti rehab specialist of India, and I have the Tupler license today as well. And that's the foundation of Fit Moms, Fitter Homes. And as soon as I started earning, I actually repaid every single penny back. Now imagine if I had stopped and said that I don't have enough money, it's not affordable. Imagine if my husband would have said that, no, we cannot spend so much on you. Imagine if my brother would have said that, no, I'm not putting this payment on my credit card at all. I may never have taken that step. And if I hadn't taken that step, what would have happened? Fit Moms, Fitter Homes may never have existed in the way it does today. I may never have gone to work with thousands of women. I may never have coached women through pregnancy and postnatal fitness. I may never have developed the depth of practical knowledge that came from working with real women and real bodies. All of the emotions which I understand today is because of that. I may never have understood human emotions in the way that years of working with women actually taught me. I may never have developed the discipline, the knowledge, and the confidence that this journey gave me. And that's how I even started Speak with Power. I wouldn't be sitting here today on the YouTube channel having this conversation with you. And all of that began with a decision that financially was uncomfortable. Not because I had limited money, but because I had decided that this is important enough for me to find a way through it. I didn't have the money sitting there. I had the conviction. I had a plan. I understood that there is a risk. I understood what I was investing in, and I was willing to take responsibility for paying it back from the people I took money. That's very different from blindly spending money because someone said that invest in yourself. A money mindset is actually not spending money you don't have. A money mindset is basically understanding what you are investing in, understanding the risk, and then understanding the potential value out of it, and then making a conscious decision. And sometimes that decision requires sacrifice. And my parents taught me this too, because I have seen so many parents in our society who live extremely modestly. They don't spend much money on themselves. They cut down their expenses. They postpone their own wants. But when it comes to their child's education, they will take a bank loan. They will use their savings for their child's education. They will make so many sacrifices. And why? Why do they do that? Because they don't see education as an expense. They see it as an investment in the future. And I understand this deeply because I saw my own parents do exactly the same. I come from a lower middle class family and I watched my parents make sacrifices for the education of my brother and even me. They wanted us to study. They wanted us to work really, really hard. My grandfather also pushed us to learn English and work hard. They wanted us to become financially independent. They wanted us to move out of that cycle where every decision was being made from scarcity. Their thinking was simple, that we may not be able to give our children everything today, but perhaps we can give them the platform to build their own life tomorrow. And that is money mindset. Not abundance for the sake of abundance, but strategic sacrifice, strategic planning. Now, I want to take you another side of it. Let's talk about weddings. So, I've seen families who live a very normal lifestyle. They don't spend extravagantly on themselves, but when it comes to their daughter's wedding, suddenly years of saving will come out. Sometimes loans are taken. Sometimes families spend enormous amounts on jewelry, ceremonies, venues, gifts, and social expectations. And again, I'm not saying celebrating a wedding is wrong. It isn't, to each to his own. But I think it's worth asking, why are we spending this money? Is it because this is genuinely important to us? Or because society told us that a wedding has to look like this? Because people will talk. People will always compare. People will judge you. And suddenly, money that could have gone towards probably education, maybe health, maybe a business investment, or maybe an FD for their own daughter, or a financial security, or fulfilling any of the dreams, gets redirected towards a social validation by spending so much on a wedding. But, then I've also seen people who do the opposite. I have seen couples have a simple court marriage. They don't spend millions on one day, and then they take that money and go on the Europe trip they have always dreamed about. Or they invest it in their business, or they buy something they have wanted for years, or they put it into their future fund. Who's right here? The first party spending on wedding or the other party not spending on their wedding? None of them. And that's exactly my point. So there is no universal definition of what is worth it. For someone, a wedding is worth it. Like for someone else, maybe a travel to the Europe is worth it. For someone, a designer bag is worth it because some people save for having a designer bag. For someone else, maybe investing in education is worth it. For someone, a fitness program is worth it. For someone else, investing in their fitness, hiring a fitness trainer is not worth it. So your priorities are yours, but you need to be at least honest about them. Okay? And yesterday, what happened during my pregnancy and postnatal trainer workshop, one of my participants said something that brought the entire conversation back to me. So when she first found my work, she told me that she didn't understand the value of it. So she joined one of my initial programs for a very nominal price, which I was giving away. And after experiencing it, she understood. She saw the depth of the program and the depth of the training. She understood the methods. She understood what she was actually getting. And then she wanted to join my advanced program, which was nicely priced. The investment was much higher, of course, and she could have then said that it's too expensive. Instead, you know what she did? She started saving for it. She shared it with me. She waited. She then planned and she prioritized it. And eventually, she joined. And yesterday, she was sitting in my certification program, and now she has been certified as a coach. And then she told me that earlier I didn't see that way. After experiencing the value, I understood what I needed to prioritize. And that sentence which she said and she shared, that stayed with me, because sometimes you don't know the value of something until you actually experience it. And sometimes the moment you see the value, your behavior around money changes. That's how humans work. Let's take an example of your health and fitness. Take weight loss. Now, how many people say that I want to lose weight? I want to get fit. I want to become stronger. I want to take care of my health. There's so many, right? But they keep postponing it until one day. Then they have a diagnosis, diabetes, high blood pressure, joint problems, pain in the knee or the pain in back, some other health concerns. With women, there are even more health concerns. And suddenly, money becomes available. Suddenly, there is money for the doctor, for getting those expensive tests done, for medicines, for treatments, for a gym membership, and for a trainer now also. And people now want to suddenly cure themselves for whatever it takes. Why? Because the cost of not taking actions has suddenly become more painful than the cost of taking an action. The priority changed. Sometimes we want for pain to create a priority, and that's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes we don't value prevention, we value the rescue more than prevention. We don't invest when things are okay, and we invest when things become too urgent to ignore. We don't prepare when life is stable, we prepare when there is a crisis happening. We don't protect our health when we have it, but we start valuing it when we are afraid of losing it. And maybe that's something we need to rethink. So, money mindset is not about spending more. Let me say this again. A healthy money mindset does not mean that buy everything you want. It doesn't even mean that take a loan for everything you desire in your life. It also doesn't mean that money will magically come back. No, it doesn't mean any of this. A healthy money mindset, what I feel, is knowing what you earn, knowing what you owe, and then knowing your responsibilities. That's important. But also understanding the risk, understanding the value, and then consciously deciding, this is where my money needs to go. So this brings me back to the question, what does affordable really mean? So maybe affordability isn't just, do I have money today? Maybe it's also, do I see enough value in this? How badly do I want it? Is this important enough to me in the present scenario? Am I willing to save for it? Am I willing to sacrifice something else for it? Am I willing to work towards creating the money for it? Because sometimes you genuinely cannot afford something, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. But sometimes you could make it happen, but you simply haven't made it important enough. And I think that's okay too. But just be honest with yourself. You should know that what exactly is the scenario right now. And about that comment, when that person told me that, ma'am, whenever you start your coaching program, please make it affordable. I understand where that request comes from. I do understand. But I want to say something very respectfully. I don't want to make something affordable by reducing the value of what I provide. I exactly know the value I provide. I know the years of experience behind my work. I know the education, I know the practical knowledge, the mistake, the learnings, the coaching, and the transformation that has gone into creating what I provide, the efforts I give to everyone who comes to me. And I'm not going to force the price of my work to fit somebody else's definition of affordability, because my price cannot be decided by someone who doesn't yet see the value in it. So if you see the value, if you genuinely believe that what I provide can actually take you where you want to go, you will decide whether it is worth prioritizing or not. And then you may save for it, you may plan for it, maybe you can wait for it, you may rearrange something else, or maybe you will decide that it isn't for you. And both decisions are absolutely okay, because not everyone is my ideal student. And I don't want to convince everybody watching me here to buy any course from me. I want the right person to understand the value of what I offer. That's a very different mindset, and I know my own value. So, the next time, whenever you say that I cannot afford it, or you ask someone else to make it affordable, please pause and then look at your finances honestly. Look at your priorities honestly. Look at the value of what you're looking for honestly, and then ask yourself, is it genuinely unaffordable, or have I simply not decided that it is important enough yet? Because I know what it feels like to look at your bank account and know that spending that money is going to hurt. I have been there, but I also know what it feels like to make a decision because you believe that the investment can actually change your whole future and trajectory of life. And sometimes that one decision changes everything. And my parents didn't have unlimited money when I was growing up, but they knew exactly what their limited money was for. They invested it in my education. I didn't have unlimited money when I invested in my education, but I knew what I wanted to build. And my workshop participant didn't initially see the value, the one whose experience I just shared. Then she experienced it. And once she understood the value of it, she found a way to prioritize it. That's the lesson. Because if it's important enough for you, you will not ask that whether I can afford it or not. You will not ask anyone else to make it affordable for you. You will ask just one question: how badly I want it. Okay? And then you will ask yourself, how can I make it happen? Or how can I afford it? I understand money matters, your limitations matter, your responsibilities matter, but so do your priorities. And when you become intentional about those priorities of what you want in your life, you stop asking this question, can I afford it? And you start asking, is this worth investing in? And how can I afford it? And that is a completely different mindset, my dear friends, because ultimately, you don't need unlimited money to build a meaningful life. You need clarity about what deserves the limited money you have. And every rupee you spend is in some way a vote for what matters, a vote for the life you're building, a vote for the future you want. So I would say ask yourself, what am I voting for with my money? Whatever money you have. And once you understand this simple money mindset, that affordability is not just about money, but also about priority, value, and the conscious choices. And once you realize that, you're going to start living with power. Once you understand the value, your own value, then you're going to speak with power. That's it. Just felt like talking about this topic today. I'll see you in the next video. Jai Hind. Namaste.